A view of a snowy road in America begins the story of this opening film. You can see crowds of people enjoying the moment leading up to Christmas. Also seen a girl who was driving her car while on the phone. She's known as an ordinary girl, but often accepts jobs as a nanny from Robert's family. As before, this time Emily will return to take care of Robert's family home. Following Robert and his wife's plan to attend the event without their son. Arriving at the Robert family residence, Emily was immediately greeted warmly by the family and started explaining about the task to be done. Robert's wife, Deandra, also revealed this recently their son, Lucas, was often delirious and sleepwalking, which he did in the middle of the night. Surprisingly, Deandra even suggested to Emily to give her child sleeping pills so that nothing bad happens to Luke. Not long after, Robert and Deandra came to the event. Like a household assistant in general, Emily carries out her role quite well, starting from cleaning the house, washing clothes, to looking after Lucas while his parents weren't home. But something unexpected happened. Lucas, who was actually only 12 years old, even dares to drink alcohol in front of Emily, and suddenly the girl immediately seized the drink bottle and forbade him not to drink it again. The surprising thing also returned to Emily. He, who was watching a movie with Lucas, was suddenly kissed by the teenage boy. Suddenly the girl immediately rejected him, continuing to say that she already considered Lucas like a little brother, and it wasn't right for them to do that. Emily immediately mixed feelings after getting a mysterious phone call. No sound at all. He too had felt the same way when he found the door of the house suddenly opened, even though he clearly remembered that he had closed all the doors and windows in the house. Unfortunately, Lucas, who tried to give Emily's cell phone to call the police, accidentally dropped it into the aquarium. As a result, now they can only hold back their fear because they are worried that bad people will enter the house. Soon there was a knock on the door, but it turns out that one of Lucas's close friends is named Gareth. The boy is known to frequent Lucas's house and spends a lot of time playing games there. The atmosphere started to feel tense because suddenly a rock flew and broke one of the windows in the house. Unfortunately, the internet network that should be able to connect them with the police can't even be used, so that makes them afraid. Gareth, who didn't want anything bad to happen, finally decided to run away from the house. But unlucky for him, he, who was running out into the yard, suddenly fainted from the sound of gunshots. Emily's feelings are increasingly erratic, because now he even found his car tire flat because it was stabbed with a knife. Feeling that someone else was threatening him and Lucas, they then headed to Robert's room. The goal is to retrieve Robert's weapon, intending to use it for self-defense, although they sneak up when they get their guns and hide in cupboards. As if feeling fooled, Emily then came out of the closet and immediately cornered Gareth as the figure behind the mask, and sure enough, the mysterious figure turns out to be the Gareth from before, pretended to be dead, who was shot in the yard. Emily, who realized that the teenager had tricked her, then took out her anger by scolding Lucas and threatening him to report his actions to Luke's parents. Instead of being afraid or sorry that he had pranked Emily, Luke slapped the girl, causing her to roll down the stairs. After losing consciousness, Emily now wakes up tied to a chair, while Lucas and Gareth are still preoccupied with the plans they will do to the girl. Unexpectedly, Luke, who had just entered his teenage years, already had the way of thinking like an adult. Seeing this action, Gareth, who was initially very excited, now felt scared and worried if later Emily reports all the treatment she experienced. Soon the doorbell rang, and this time it was Ricky who came. He was Emily's boyfriend who only came to give flowers to his girlfriend, but his arrival clearly triggers Lucas and Gareth's unrest. Moreover, Ricky also forced himself to enter even though he was blocked by them. As a result, a commotion ensued until Ricky finally fell after being hit in the head. Just like Emily, Ricky now wakes up tied to a chair. I don't know what Lucas and Gareth were thinking. Hay, who has always had a psychopathic soul, instead tries to play games with his new captive. From the second floor of his house, Lucas was playing swinging a bucket full of paint, which suddenly made Ricky very scared. It's the same with Gareth. He, who has always looked at Luke like a home child, is now frightened by his friend's crazy behavior. Meanwhile, Emily, who has been silent and has no regrets, manages to escape after cutting the binder using a broken glass. Then he went to try to save his girlfriend, aiming at Luke with a gun. Unexpectedly, Luke, who has a psychopathic soul, instead returns to swinging the paint bucket at Ricky. As a result, Ricky's head immediately crushed. Seeing tragic death before her eyes, this time Emily was furious, and she then threatened to injure Luke at gunpoint. But bad luck for Emily. The piston he held was not filled with bullets. As a result, he tried to escape by running as fast as possible out of the house. When confronted by Gareth, the teenager accidentally falls into his own trap. But in the end, Emily is paralyzed after receiving an attack from Luke. Now Emily was getting more and more helpless. Kian's limp body couldn't move because almost his entire body was covered in duct tape by them. Even Luke also decorated the girl's body with decorative lights like a Christmas tree. But soon others also came. Jeremy is Emily's ex-boyfriend. I don't know what Lucas is planning, but what is certain is that Jeremy's arrival is the wish of this psychopathic teenager. In his side yard, Lucas alone meets Jeremy and begins to talk about his feelings. Emily, who actually still loves him. Surprisingly, Luke suddenly entangles Jeremy's neck and hangs him, causing the man to be killed in an unnatural way.
At the same time, Gareth, who was in charge of looking after Emily, finally started to soften up after the girl teased him, either because he was attracted to her or because he couldn't stand it and wanted to save her. Gareth slowly began to open the straps on Emily's body. But poor Gareth, he just started letting Emily go. Suddenly shot from Luke. Not only shot him once, the psychopathic teenager even brutally aimed at Gareth's head using a shotgun. Not content with just killing the others, Luke finally plunged the knife into Emily's neck. So that makes the girl helpless.
Doesn't always seem to reflect the behavior of Luke, who is only 12 years old. He who had taken countless lives seemed to have no remorse or fear at all. The teenage boy even went around adjusting the condition of the house as if there had just been a big commotion, and put himself as a victim of all these events. Not long after, Luke's parents came and were immediately shocked by the discovery of a number of bodies in their house. Interestingly, in that way, the police who arrived at the location were not at all suspicious of all the bodies that were there. But then something surprising happened. At the end of the film, Emily, who was being carried by the medical team, immediately points her middle finger at Lucas, as if he was really angry and furious at the brutal act that the teenage boy had committed. And the movie ends casually. Don't forget to click the like and subscribe button. And don't forget the comments. Thanks for watching the video. I'm Felix, and see you again in the next video.